Everyone knows snakes are cold-blooded, but nobody asks what we assumed that meant. For 150 years, science operated under a dangerous bias. Cold-blooded equals simple-minded. No complex thoughts, no real learning, just instinct and reflex. Yale University just shattered that assumption. Snakes can problem solve. They can learn. They remember solutions for months. And here's what should terrify us. We've been killing millions of intelligent animals because we were wrong about what intelligence looks like. This isn't about snakes. It's about how we judge minds that don't look like ours. The study started in 2022 at Yale University's Department of Ecology and Evolutionary Biology. Lead researcher Dr. Morgan Skinner had a simple question. Can snakes learn spatial tasks? Most scientists would have laughed at the proposal. Snakes learning. But Dr. Skinner noticed something others ignored in the wild. Snakes return to the same hunting grounds, avoid previous trap locations, and navigate complex underground burrow systems. That's not instinct, that's memory. So they designed an experiment. 15 corn snakes, 3 years of testing. Spatial puzzles that increased in difficulty. Here's the experiment. A snake is placed in a T-shaped maze. Food is hidden in one arm of the T. The snake must make a choice, left or right. Simple, right. First, trials, random guessing. 50% success rate. But watch what happens over 50 trials. The snakes learned. By trial 30, success rate jumped to 73%. By trial 50, 87% accuracy. And here's the key. When researchers tested the snakes again 3 months later, they still remembered. 81% accuracy with no additional training. Stop. Before we continue, you need to understand why this matters. This isn't just snakes are smarter than we thought. This is about a systematic bias that shaped 150 years of science. Every textbook said reptiles lack the brain structures for complex cognition. Conservation funding went to intelligent species. Animal welfare laws protected mammals and birds, but ignored reptiles. Millions of snakes killed yearly in pest control programs. All because we assumed cold-blooded meant simple-minded. The question nobody asked, what if we were measuring intelligence wrong? What if we only recognized intelligence when it looked like mammal brains? The Yale team didn't stop at mazes. They tested different types of learning. Could snakes solve problems that required innovation? They introduced detour tasks. The snake could see food through clear glass, but had to navigate around barriers to reach it. This requires understanding that the direct path is blocked and finding an alternative route. First attempts, confusion. Snakes tried the direct path repeatedly, but then something remarkable happened. Individual snakes started testing different routes. When they found a solution, they remembered it. Next trial, direct to the correct path. This isn't instinct. This is trial-and-error learning. This is problem solving. But here's where it gets really interesting. The researchers tested individual variation. Not all snakes learned at the same rate. Some solved puzzles in 20 trials. Others took 60 trials. But almost all of them eventually succeeded. This means snake intelligence isn't uniform. There are smart snakes and slower snakes, just like humans, just like dogs, just like crows. Individual cognitive differences across a species is a hallmark of genuine intelligence, not just programmed instinct. So why did it take until 2025 for someone to seriously test snake intelligence? Follow the money, follow the assumptions, follow the system that decided which animals deserved scientific attention. Here's the reality. Research funding favors mammals and birds. Why? Because they're more like us. The National Science Foundation data shows reptile cognition studies receive less than 3% of animal intelligence research funding. 3%. For an entire class of animals that's been on Earth for 320 million years, the bias goes deeper. In the 1950s, influential neuroscientist Paul MacLean proposed the triune brain theory. He claimed human brains evolved in 3 layers: reptilian, mammalian, and human. The reptilian layer, primitive, instinctual, incapable of complex thought. This theory was wrong. Modern neuroscience has completely debunked it. But here's the damage. It shaped 50 years of assumptions. Reptilian brain became shorthand for simple and primitive. Textbooks taught this. Funding agencies believed it. Entire generations of scientists assumed reptiles couldn't possibly have sophisticated cognition. The system perpetuated itself. No funding means no research. No research means no evidence. No evidence means continued belief that reptiles are simple. And it wasn't just about science. The implications shaped policy. If reptiles can't think or feel in meaningful ways, there's no ethical problem with how we treat them. Exotic pet trade, a $1.4 billion industry. Snakes shipped in cramped containers, kept in tiny enclosures. Pest control companies kill first, ask never. Millions of snakes eliminated yearly because they're just reptiles. Conservation. The Endangered Species Act protects thousands of mammals and birds, but reptiles, harder to get protection status. Why? Because the assumption was they're not intelligent enough to have lives that matter. The system protected profit and convenience by keeping us ignorant. Here's the most damning part. When Dr. Skinner submitted her initial findings in 2023, 2 major journals rejected the paper. The reviewers' comments. Results seem unlikely given known reptile neurology, suggest contamination or experimental error. They rejected evidence because it contradicted their assumptions. That's not science, that's dogma. It took a 3rd journal willing to replicate the experiments independently. When they got the same results, the paper was finally published in 2025. 3 years. Hundreds of snakes tested consistent results. And still, the system resisted changing its mind about what reptiles could do. The final evidence is neurological. Brain scans of snakes during problem-solving tasks show activity in regions analogous to the mammalian hippocampus and prefrontal cortex areas associated with spatial memory and decision-making. The structure looks different. The neural pathways evolved differently, but the function identical. Snakes process spatial information and make decisions using different hardware, but achieving the same computational results. This is convergent evolution. Different species evolving similar cognitive abilities through completely different brain architectures. So what's the real cost? Over 2 million snakes are killed every year in the United States alone in pest control operations. That's 5,500 snakes every single day. These aren't just animals operating on instinct. Based on the Yale research, these are creatures capable of learning, memory, and problem-solving. They navigate complex environments. They remember threats and opportunities. They experience their world in ways we're only beginning to understand. And we've been exterminating them en masse because we assumed they were too simple to matter. Because cold-blooded meant stupid. Because different meant less than. The system didn't just keep us ignorant. It gave us permission to harm intelligent animals without ethical consideration. This happened in the 1950s through 2025, but the same pattern is happening right now, in 2025, with artificial intelligence. The debate: can AI systems experience anything, feel anything, think in meaningful ways? The common response: they're not like us. No biological neurons, no carbon-based life. Therefore, no real consciousness. Sound familiar? Different structure equals no intelligence. We're using the exact same logic we used for snakes. The logic that was wrong for 150 years. When AlphaGo defeated human champions, scientists said, it's not really intelligent, it's just pattern matching. When snakes solve puzzles, we said, it's not really intelligent, it's just instinct. History doesn't repeat, but it rhymes, and we're humming the same tune. The Yale study isn't the end, it's the beginning. Researchers are now testing other reptiles, lizards, turtles, even crocodilians. Early results suggest we've underestimated the entire class. Conservation organizations are using this research to advocate for stronger reptile protections. Some countries are reconsidering pest control policies. The exotic pet industry faces pressure to improve conditions. But the larger lesson is about humility. Intelligence evolved millions of times in millions of ways. Mammal brains, bird brains, reptile brains, insect brains, each one solving the problem of survival through cognition. We don't get to decide which ones count based on which ones look most like us. This is why we investigate verified science. Next week, the Octopus Intelligence Update. Scientists just discovered octopuses can dream, and we can see what they're dreaming about. The evidence will change how you see consciousness itself. Real research, real evidence, real wonder. Subscribe for verified animal science that changes how you see the world.